Peace be our family. I'm your host Shabari Lamb, and this is another edition of the Liberian Presidential Series. And in this video, we'll be talking about the ninth Liberian President, Anthony W. Gardiner. Before I begin, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you comment down below, tell us what you think, and of course, let's get the discussion started. And I can't forget to sign up to the website at BAIO/Afrikstan.org/register. We would really appreciate your membership. So, who was Anthony W. Gardiner? Anthony W. Gardiner was born in Southampton, Virginia in 1820. His parents were both free blacks, and so they were able to immigrate to the Liberian colony on January 11th, 1831, on the Brig Valedor. Now, an interesting fact about his mother and father is his mother is going to die in 1865, but his father is going to be old enough to see him become president in 1878, and that's when he's 58 years old. So his father was living an incredibly long life, and it's amazing that he was able to see his son become the head of state of the country. He also received his law degree in Liberia, and he received that from a man by the name of Louis Sheridan. So once he got his law degree in Liberia, he served as the Justice of Peace and Court Clerk. In 1844, he was the sheriff of Grand Bassa County. In 1848, he was the Attorney General under Joseph Jenkins Roberts. From 1855 to 1872, he was the representative of Grand Bassa County. And within that time period, from 1859 to 1872, he was the Speaker of the House. From 1872 to 1876, he was Vice President under Joseph Jenkins Roberts. 1876 to 1877, he was Superintendent of Grand Bassa. And from 1878 to 1883, he served as President, with his Vice President being Alfred Francis Russell. So Anthony W. Gardiner starts getting into politics, and he's, of course, like I said, he serves as a representative, he serves as Speaker of the House, and then he's going to take the chance at the presidency. His bid for the presidency starts earlier than 1878, but the reason why he doesn't start his presidential career earlier is because of the fact that there was a mishandling between Liberia and the Grebo Nation. So this was the Liberia-Grebo War in 1875 to 1876 that it was under the administration of Joseph Jenkins Roberts. So there was a war that broke out in Maryland County. Of course, this is different than the Grebo-Maryland War of 1857. So that is happening, and this is also during his time, because remember, Joseph Jenkins Roberts is the president, and Anthony W. Gardiner served as his vice president. So this ends up happening, and it leaves a blemish. So this is going to lead to James Briggs Payne getting the nomination in 1876. And then from 1877 onwards, he served as a member of the True Whigs. So when he was under Joseph Jenkins Roberts, he was a Republican. When he starts going back in 1877, he's now under the True Whig Party. And the True Whig Party is now recovering from the coup that happened with E.J. Roy. Go back in the Liberian Presidential Series, and I break it down with E.J. Roy and his successor for the brief amount of time, James Givering Smith. So he's going to eventually get elected in 1878 by the True Whig Party, and this is going to be historic because it's going to mark the ending of the Republican Party and begin the dominance of the True Whig for the next 100 years. So from 1878 to 1980, the True Whig Party is the dominant party. Liberia is essentially a one-party state. There was a brief period in the 1880s where the Republicans tried to win the office again with Edward Wilmot Blyden, but that doesn't work. And of course, this is the time when the Congos are going to start to be incorporated into the national body politic, specifically the True Whig. Now, I need to make the distinction. There's a distinction between Americo-Liberian, Congo, and the indigenous. Of course, indigenous means the indigenous people, the Kru, the Kron, the Bassa, the Vai, the Day. Congo in this context means African captives, so people who were Igbo, who were Congolese, or hence the Congo River. That's why they get the word Congo, because most of them thought the slaves were from the Congo. Gabon, Akan, Dahomey, slaves that were supposed to have been sent to the Americas and were able to be recaptured and sent back to Liberia, those are your recaptives. Those are your Congos, excuse me. Americo-Liberian in this context exclusively refers to African Americans and Afro-Caribbeans, more specifically Bajans. So just had to get that clarified. Americo-Liberian Congo, and of course you have the indigenous people. So he's elected in 1878. He's inaugurated January 7th, 1878. He was Liberia's ninth president, like I said before, but he was the seventh president, the seventh person. Remember, Joseph Jenkins Roberts and James Fitz served their terms non-consecutively. When he took office, he was the only surviving signatory of the Liberian Declaration of Independence. So remember, he is a delegate to the to the convention for Liberia's Declaration of Independence, and of course, he's going to represent Grand Bassa County because Grand Bassa County was where he grew up. And like he said, he was the last signatory of the Liberian Declaration of Independence when he is elected. So there are a couple of priorities that he has. One is more port entry to increase trade. Two was laws to encourage capital and foreign investment, educating the indigenous people, and incorporating, them into the national body policy, specifically indigenous people. He also establishes the Department of the Interior, or the Interior Department, and Edward Wilmot Blyden is going to be the Secretary of the Interior. And then he's also going to join the Universal Postal System. So during this time, Liberia is going to be at the height of its expansion. So Liberia at this time is not its present-day borders. It also includes some parts of Sierra Leone, some parts of Ivory Coast, and some parts of Guinea, such as Masardu and Popodu. Of course, during the Scramble for Africa, which Anthony W. Gardiner's term, when it ends, the Scramble for Africa is really beginning, with the Berlin Conference happening a year later. And so Liberia eventually starts losing its territory, and one case was in the Galenas territory. So the governor of Sierra Leone, Sir Arthur Havelock, who was, by the way, governor of Tasmania, y'all know knows what happened with the Tasmanians and how the British wiped them out. So we already can make some assumptions about who Sir Havelock was. So basically, he demands his territory, and he wants to get Liberians to sign a treaty. However, Anthony W. Gardiner feels this is not the best way, and he's getting opposition from his own vice president and the political party, and this creates a lot of stress for him. And eventually, due to the fact that he wasn't getting the support that he needed and he was falling ill in 1883, he's going to resign. When Sir Havelock came to Monrovia, he also had gunboats with him, so they were meaning business. And this also happened with Germany, where Germany had their vessels and they were sending their vessels to Liberia to bomb Monrovia and to bomb the areas. This is also happening when there is a conflict with the crew. It's hard to get the crew under control. It's just like similar with the Grebos that was happening with the Liberia-Grebo War. So this is all happening under his administration, and then eventually he resigns, and eventually his successor, Alfred Francis Russell, as vice president, is going to take over. He only stays for about less than a year, and then eventually he's going to die not too far after his term, similar to how Anthony W. Gardiner died not too long after his presidency. Another interesting thing to note about this is also the time when Henry O. Flipper, the first Black West Point cadet that graduated, he's going to get commissioned, and in 1877, they tried to get him to go to Liberia. So they want him to serve as the commander of the Liberian army. Henry O. Flipper rejects this. He opposes the Liberian exodus, opposes this idea, and says that he's not going to flee to do glory in Africa or flee the terror under Rutherford B. Hayes. And I felt like that was a miscalculation because he's going to end up getting trumped up charges, and as a result, he's going to get dishonorably discharged. And he tried to reinstate later on, and that didn't work. You can get some of that information from the Colored Cadet, the Army, Navy, Air Force Journal and Registry, Volume 15, that was in 1878. And you can also look at the United States Army and Navy Journal and Gazette of the Regular and Volunteer Force, that's Volume 15 as well, and it's written in 1877 as well. So this is some information about Anthony W. Gardiner, the 9th president of Liberia, the seventh person to occupy the executive mansion. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.